What up? It's Tizone with the Hitlanders podcast. Yo, I got Streetz Money here with me.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Streetz Money, and welcome to the Hitlanders podcast.
So today we're gonna talk about this whole AI thing and the pros and cons of it. I think like I think it's a good thing and a bad thing for a lot of different reasons. I think as far as from artist standpoint, I understand it, because it's like say you want a feature and it's hard to get people to feature on the record and you got the idea, you can lay your idea down yourself, you know, and get, the AI generator to come up with something and there go your idea, you know. That's what I think, just starting off like that, with AI. But I think that's the benefits of it.
It's like I'm real on the fence about the whole AI thing because it's like I see the pros and cons of it. I it's like I see the pros a lot, but I definitely see how it can just take all sorts of authenticity and originality out of the music because it's like essentially you got people who are out here releasing full AI generated songs. Like they're not putting in any work on the production side. They're not putting in any work on the writing side. And even on the recording side, they're not putting in any work either. Like they're just letting the AI software just literally create an entire song for them. And
Yeah.
they're monetizing it.
Yeah,
Like
I don't like it like that. I think where you just going in and you just putting a prompt into the system and say create me a 70s record with a Motown bass line and then it just make it. That's not the way I look at, that's the bad part about AI. You know, I look at it like if you got a melody, an idea, you want a certain style of like singer, or you actually got a bass line, you got the melody or whatever, and then you getting help from an AI system to bring that idea to life. That's how I look at what AI is, how it could to, really benefit. Because it's like with me, I have a bunch of ideas and I got melodies and I want singers on it, but then you reaching out to artists and you can't get them to participate in the record. So that's where AI benefits. So now I could just put my idea down, boom, do the demo myself and then select what I want on this record. And I think that's the benefit of it. And a lot of artists now are having a problem with the whole AI thing because now it's competition for them because they not working as hard, and they not participating in these records, like they should. So now it's knocking them out of a job, even with musicians, because you might want a keyboard player, somebody that play keys, and you can't get them to, get on the record. Okay, well, I want you do a prompt and say, I want a keyboard melody in the key of G, and you get it and be like, okay, here's part of my melody, and then generate something, then it come back dope, then that keyboard player is out of a job because
yeah.
they don't want to participate in really making the records, and it's hard because, man, people got these egos, and one thing about AI is no ego.
That's because there's no. That's because there's no human.
Exactly. There's no ego in AI. So you can create, it's endless, and that's what I look at. I think that's the biggest thing of it. But I don't agree with like just doing a full song without no creativity. You just typing in prompts. The prompt is creating a record. Now that's where it's just like, nah, that's too far for me.
But see, that's the gift and the curse behind AI. Is because it's like, yeah, in the right hands, it can be used for just a useful resource to have in your creation process. But the examples we just given, in the wrong hands, it can, like we said, you got people literally fully AI generated songs and monetize them.
Yeah. But they
It's like
cracking down on, you just monetizing, just AI records like that. But
it's like
it's like what
it's like I get that they're cracking down on it, but essentially, how can you crack down on it fully and regulate it when it's hard to fully decipher? Like, how are you able to tell what's AI generated and what's it and what isn't? Like, obviously, in certain situations with actual vocals, you can tell like what's AI generated and what's not. But how can you tell like with lyrics or instrumentals? How can you tell what's being AI generated? And even in situations where, okay, let's say I have I completely write a song, but I don't have no beat for it. Let's say that I want to get an AI generated beat. Like, how do I go about registering like my production credits? Like, who gets production credits? It's like, it's so I, I'm just so on the fence about it because it's like it's so new, and I feel like there's not enough there hasn't been enough time for us to really fully research and analyze how can this be regulated and monetized without people taking advantage of it.
yeah, I think they can track the music, because of content ID. The system knows what it created. That's the thing. It knows what loop it created. If it's just like fully generated by them. So when you put it in the system and it comes up, they know what it is, unless you chop in the loop up, chopping the AI beat up. But they definitely know. They know what they created. So I think it's a more of a help tool. That's what I think. It's I don't think it should be used to fully generate just whole records. You know what I'm saying? Like just complete records, because it is taking the life out of like music, and it's like a lot of the AI generated stuff starting to sound the same. It has
Yeah.
certain it has a certain quality to it where it's like, I think that was AI generated.
It's like I've had my situations where, I've experimented with working on AI generated tracks. Like, basically, just I would write something like a hook or something and record it and throw it in the AI and turn it into a whole new voice. I've done a few tracks like that, and I will say, like, although it is a whole lot more efficient to just go the AI route, especially since I'm doing my own writing and I could just demo it myself, it does like you say, feel like it's taking the life out of the music, because
Yeah.
it just doesn't have that same feeling like actually having a real singer
Yeah.
put their soul and emotion onto a vocal, and then rather than just trying to recreate that with an AI system. It's like, nah. It don't hit the same to me.
No, it's nothing like, a real vocalist, and you know. But I think like as they tweaking out, the bugs in the AI system, I think it's starting to get better. You know, they working it, because it's a lot of different platforms that's coming up that you really could like you really can get some good stuff, but you just got to know how to use it. But I still think you got to have some talent, some originality, to to actually start with. But when you start looking at it, so my question would be, what's the difference in AI for producers and producers using Splice or Arcade, or because technically you didn't create that loop. So what's the difference? Because you took this loop off the site, and it's probably 100 other producers didn't use that same loop. So what's the difference in something being generated AI versus you getting a loop pack? None of it you created. So is it a difference?
Oh, that's a iffy one in my opinion. That's a touchy one because it's like I see where you coming from in the sense of it's the same because essentially it's all it's all basically sounds that you're not creating that's basically coming from somewhat like third party sources that you getting these sounds from,
Exactly.
and you're essentially using that in your production. So I see how you would say that, but in my opinion, I just feel like although it's somewhat the same, to me the feeling in it is different. Like I'm one of those people who look at music as more of, although it's an art, I still see the science behind it. Like
Hmm.
this, like things that we hear, songs that we hear, sounds that we hear, they have an effect on our feelings and emotions. Like they cause triggers for us to feel a certain type of way. Those splice loops are still being created by humans in most situations rather than a vocal that's completely AI generated. So it's like in a way it still has more of an effect on the human emotion in a way. Not saying that like the AI generated sound music can't, but it's 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 easier for an actual human to create something that triggers another human's emotion rather than software. But that's just my opinion. I could be
I
wrong on
think
that.
I think that of course a human had to create the AI. The feeling it has to have some way to train this system, you know, the system to actually generate a certain feeling. So I think like from the science side of it, the emotion, I think it can capture that because the systems is intelligent enough to know what you're prompting it to do. And why I say that, because they've they've like taken all the music and analyzed all of these songs. That's why most of like the record companies have started to partner and generate their own AI, software, because what they're doing is putting their catalog into this system and training it to reproduce these particular records. So it's not hard to capture the emotion when you got the masters. You see what I'm saying?
That
You
makes
got the
sense.
masters. So you're training your AI system to, I want this record to sound like Marvin Gaye. I want this record to give me the Motown sound.
I
So
mean, it ain't
you
that
looking
hard to
at it
do
like
when you got Motown's
you
catalog.
got the catalog. So you're gonna put all this information into this catalog, all this from this catalog into all these different things. And it's a wrap after that.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. So you start looking at it, it's like Spotify's catalog. You uploading records now on the DSPs, and you giving the DSPs permission to use your record to train AI.
Yeah.
So it really ain't no way around it. It's like now you have to figure out, okay, how do I make this work for me? How can I benefit from it? Because it's not going nowhere. It's
Nah,
either
it's
you
it's
evolve,
AI is here to stay.
yeah, you either evolve or you're gonna get left behind. So now the key thing is you're gonna have to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's no different than you getting a loop off of arcade or splice, or you buying such and such loop pack. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think, you get a loop pack from somebody selling a loop pack, and it's like, what if he done sold 500 loop packs? So you got
But this
500
exact
different
same loop
producers.
pack.
Exactly. That same loop pack. They not doing nothing no different. And especially if the loop is dope. Now, if the loop is dope, they gonna use the loop as is. Ain't nobody, because if they was able to go in and do all these chops and chop up the loop, they can create their own loop.
Essentially.
Then you got, if you get a loop from a loop maker, more than likely it's 3 and 4 people on one loop. People,
Yeah.
people don't want to go through that. So now, with you eliminating, you could put a command prompt into the AI system, and you can generate it, and then you don't have to deal with, well, this loop maker want 25%, this loop maker want 50% because he said he did the majority of the work, this loop maker want another percentage, and then it's like nobody agreed to these percentages because everybody thinking they did more than the next person. Then you can't get the loop cleared. You stuck. But then you
Rather
could
than
just type
go
it
go
in.
through AI, type
You
in
know
one
what I'm saying?
little prompt, and you all
Exactly.
good.
Do the prompt and keep it moving. And
Yeah.
you ain't got no problem. So I think, like, even with um like Timberland and whoever else that's using AI, they gonna crank out records way faster, especially with somebody like a Timberland who got ideas flowing all day long. He gonna come up with all type of stuff. He gonna beatbox. He gonna hum melodies. He gonna do, and he gonna be cranking out stuff. He gonna have
Yeah.
song after song at an alarming rate.
Like that's crazy. I think I seen something that was on either Facebook or Instagram. Beanie Siegel was working on music using AI. And it's like,
Yeah, because
man,
he's going back to his regular voice with, because it's, he done trained all the, from his records, from his older records. Now he could rap, he can do his cadence, and then just switch it into his voice. Same thing, like with DLC.
That
Now,
was where I was going with it next. Like,
you
what if
know,
DLC
so
was to make a comeback?
exactly. So man, that'll be like that's a hip hop's dream come true to hear another DOC album.
Yeah,
Cause it's like, dude is one of the greatest.
and it's
So
like it's like a Derrick Rose situation. It's like that the accident happened like right, right in his prime, in his peak.
exactly. So you start looking at it. I think it has its benefits in a lot of ways. I think you have to really get in there and really figure out how it's gonna work for you. You know, how you can make it work for like your own situation. Cause like with me, I got tons of ideas. Like now I got hundreds of voice notes of melodies and ideas. Okay, I can just put these ideas. I don't have to be chasing, singers and oh, I need somebody to do this hook. Oh, I need somebody to do that hook. And it's like, man, come on. If you had the people that worked like we did back in the days, it would be a different ball game where we sitting in the studio, we knocking out 5 songs a day. That would be a different ball game. But now it's like you barely can get artists to come to the studio for an hour or
Yeah,
two, you know, when we was in here 12, 14 hours every day.
I don't even think it's necessarily getting artists in the studio that's the problem nowadays. I feel like it's getting them to focus in the studio.
Yeah. And it's like,
That'd be my
what do you
biggest
do?
issue.
Yeah. What do you do? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think we're at a point where you just got to figure out how to use the AI system to work for you, not to create for you, but be a tool to help you finish, the product. That's what I think. But you hearing like, producers using the whole track AI, I can't respect that. I can't
Nah,
respect that because you're good at like doing some command prompts,
nah,
and
I
not
can't
having
respect that at
no
all.
idea.
You just good at giving orders, literally.
Exactly.
I can't
You know,
respect it.
so you can't really respect, that situation like that. I
So
don't
what do
vibe
you
with that.
so what do you think can be done to help like regulate that, to help keep those type of producers and artists out of the way?
I think it's gonna be more of the content ID because being that if like if the systems know what they generating, the moment they generate it, it should go into the content ID system. So say you on a site, you put in your command prompts, you hit generate, and once it generate something, you listening back to it. The moment you click download, it should go into the content ID system. So once it's played back, it'll know that it was generated with some AI. That's what it should be. Cause you gotta think like even on BeatStars, it
Yeah.
asks you if you using third party loops or anything.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I was asking that, because I was even looking like thinking about it from like a perspective of like looking at even when I upload my tracks to streaming platforms compared
Mhm.
to when I first started doing music. It's like now they ask me a whole lot more questions basically about the rights to my music compared to when I first started releasing. Like
Right.
they're asking me for my actual leases for my beats if I'm leasing these beats.
Mm-hmm.
They're asking me if I have permission for these instrumentals. Like before, they weren't really on top of things like that. And now I even hear about situations where artists upload music to streaming platforms, and then as soon as it gets uploaded and it gets cleared, boom, it's automatically flagged for copyright issues.
Yeah. Because somebody else, got the content ID. Somebody else, and then you got multiple people getting a loop and trying to say, okay, this is my loop. When, yeah, it's royalty free, but you don't own it when you do a song to it. That's where the problem is coming in. So you got 5 and 6 different artists uploading to a platform with the same loop. And then once it comes around, who's gonna get the payout for this particular loop when it's 5 people using the same thing?
Yeah.
So I think it needs to be a way to like decipher what song is what, even on that particular loop. Like I know that you get like the separate ISRC code, you know, to identify what record it is. But the minute that full bar loop go around, it's flagging it. It's flagging it saying, oh, it's this particular record, and then it's like artists is actually getting away with it. But then it's been times where I've stuff that I have on the platforms, the streaming platforms, instrumentals. I've decided, okay, I'm gonna do a beat video, and I upload my own stuff, and they flagging me for my own stuff. But then artists is getting away with uh ripping off the loops.
Yeah.
So how you flagging me for my original stuff that I'm actually playing? But you letting all these loops and everything get through on multiple artists, because I've recorded artists where they come in and be like, dang, such and such got this beat, such and such got this beat, this person got this beat. And it'd
Oh
be
my
like,
god, I done ran into that situation too many
and
times.
there's so many people, using the same beat. And then it's like, how how y'all don't know that like 10 other artists got the same beat? And who did it first? You know what I'm saying? Who did it first?
Who can
The
prove that they
first
did it first?
exact the first person is the person that got the content ID, who registered that content ID first. That's who the first person is.
Yep. That's the way that they prove it.
And then everybody after that is gonna get flagged, and their music gonna say it's their song, the other person's song. So I think it has to be a better system for you know a lot of this AI generated stuff, because they
And
can't
that's
tell me that AI is generating something new every single time. Somebody gonna get a copy, a duplicate of something.
that's what I'm saying. It's like at the end of the day, like we talk about the whole concept of originality in music, but music has been around for so long. It's like you can only there's only so much originality that you can really bring in.
Yeah, because every note been played before. So
Exactly.
what you gonna do? You only got 12 notes. So it's like, what you gonna do? So you have to sit back and say, well, something's gonna be duplicated. Some gonna be
At some
duplicated
point.
some kind of way. Yeah, some kind of way it's gonna get duplicated. But
So so here's another question I got for you.
Hmm.
on the AI topic. In those situations where we have the music that's basically fully AI generated, like beats, lyrics, and everything, who do you feel like should get royalties? Who should get what percentages at that point?
Well, now what's happening is record labels are buying into the AI companies. So now that once you generate something, they're going to automatically get a piece of the publisher.
Mm,
They're going to automatically get it because they're not going to let you generate something and get 100% of the royalty from what you generated from their platform. They're buying into the the AI companies the exact same way they did the streaming companies. Because a lot
mm,
of people don't realize that the majors have stake in the streaming platforms.
yeah, without a doubt.
So it's only a matter of time before they have all the stake and power that they need for all the AI companies because they basically is collaborating with them daily.
It's
Every
crazy.
time you look at
It's
the
like a
chart.
big monopoly.
Exactly. So once you start looking at that, it's like they're gonna say, as long you can generate whatever you want, as long as we own a piece of it, we don't they're not gonna care. They're not gonna care. So automatically, and you're not gonna be able to get around it because they're gonna own they got the content ID systems automatically. So the moment you upload it, they're getting a piece. They're gonna get their piece automatically. So there's absolutely nothing nobody can do about it. So you can generate all you want. If you use exactly what was generated, it's a wrap. They're gonna get their piece automatically.
Yeah. Oh
They
yeah.
get
They
theirs.
definitely get theirs.
Yeah, they gonna get their piece. So it ain't really nothing you can do about it. But you just got to figure out just how to make it work for you. Once you can figure out how to make it work for you, then you good. You use it as a tool and you keep going. That's why I think, where the AI situation is a benefit, but I can't respect somebody just typing in on a computer and talking about they made a record. That I can't vibe with that. Not at all. Cause
Nah.
yeah, it's like you say it's the cheat code, but no, that's just cheating. And it needs to get back to more like musicianship, people really learning an instrument, and then I think that would make using those tools a lot better, you know,
Yeah.
especially with you just having people like, because I think we just at a time where like production is just so different. You got four people making a 4-bar loop, then you got one person doing the drums.
I feel like the biggest difference in everything is it's all we're in a world in an industry where people are mainly focused on quantity over quality.
Mm, definitely that. Definitely,
Yeah,
that
it's like
that quantity.
the consumers attention spans are starting to become so short to where artists aren't necessarily worried about making quality music. They just focus on just making enough music to stay relevant.
But I think that's why a lot of music is not sticking.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
like you getting a good 3 months. 3 months out of a record, and you probably never hear the record again. But you looking at like people still playing Big Daddy Kane, people still playing uh, Rock Him, Paid in Full, Dougie Fresh, KRS-One. You know, it's like uh, Jazzy Jeff and Will Smith still rocking arenas, stadiums, and it's like, no, because they got hits. They got real hits. But I think I think it has to get back to more of the emotion of these records. Capturing a real feeling. You know, that part I don't know. Like, I think AIs may be a little bit too perfect. That's where
Yeah.
the human element to come in. Because you start thinking about it like AI couldn't. I don't think AI could ever produce a Jay Dilla style
Oh
record
no.
because it's like
Nah.
he used the MPC with quantization turned off, and the way the chops and all of that stuff was. No, you ain't gonna be able to think like Dilla. So I
No.
think AI is only gonna go so far and pretty much like use the most common chord progressions, the most common bass or guitar riffs. I think after that, the creativity gone. You're gonna get the basics, but the basics ain't gonna make you know your record stand out like that. You know
Nah.
that it'll never be able to produce the bass line or the guitar riff of a My Girl.
No. Oh no.
So it's like you're gonna be limited. You're gonna be limited. So you start looking at that as like I don't think people have like anything to worry about with AI. Not the real creatives.
Yeah,
Not
the real creators are good.
hmm Real creatives are basically on point, but I don't think so. I think I think it's gonna be so far you could go. Like the girl that's supposed to have the $3 million deal or whatever. Like I can see where where she going with things, and how she blew up, because she do have some good lyrics. Her pen game is bananas.
Yeah.
She's writing these lyrics and prompting what style that she want, but she did write the lyrics.
Yeah, you ain't getting the AI artist on Billboard without putting some effort
You
into
gotta
it.
have some skill set. So like I said earlier, I can't respect somebody saying click 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 on the computer, and then that's it, and then let the computer do the work for you. I can't see that. Not at all. You gotta do something. Beat on the drum machine, do something. Play some keys, at least write the lyrics, do something. But not just put a command prompt and then say, I'm a producer. Nah, can't see
I,
it.
I feel like I feel like eventually it's gonna become a situation of like like for producers, for example, like with beat makers. Once the whole idea of the digital hardware start coming into place, like the digital DAWs, the your FL Studios and all of those, it's like actual the actual fundamentals of making beats started becoming less needed. So it's like it's so many producers out here who honestly don't even know how to just play basic instruments like a piano or don't know the basic functions of a drum machine.
Yeah, because it's when you can just take your laptop and
Literally
generate
just click,
whatever,
just point
yeah,
and click.
yeah, whatever you want. And then, I ain't knocking it, but you start looking at it, it's like, oh, I could just click this, I could click that, and then it's over with. You got
Mm,
systems mixing your record now. Now you got instant mastering, all this stuff, and it's like, nah, it's just too much, you know. It's
yeah, I feel like it's starting to. I feel like it's eventually gonna get to the point to where it's like, okay, the actual art of crafting a record, like from start to finish, from like instrumentation, lyrics, mixing, mastering, everything. It's starting to feel like eventually it's gonna get to the point to where it's just like it's a lost art because we're just letting technology do it for us.
yeah, it's I think you just got to use the technology in the right way, you know. And I think, like the real producers and writers and musicians, it's nothing to worry about. You know, I don't think the people who really know how to make records are threatened by AI, because it's only going to be so many prompts you're going to be able to do,
I can see
and
that.
at some point it's going to start generating the same thing. So it's going to get to the point where it's like Splice and all the rest of you know the loop companies, to where it's going to be oversaturated with people using the same loop. People going to start getting the same prompts, you know. After they start running out of which prompt is what, you're gonna get the same thing.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening because the whole loop game is definitely oversaturated.
Yeah, the loop game is crazy right now. It's super super crazy right now, because now it's like, I saw a situation where somebody provided some loops. Another producer takes the loops, and then they throw some drums on it, and then they take it to the artist, and they say they're the producers, but they don't want to give the loop maker production credit. So if this person made the loop, is their co-producer or loop maker?
It depends on what you do with that loop.
So if you take that loop and use that loop and put some drums on it, we did this together.
We did this together. If all you did was just throw some drums on my loop,
So
it ain't like you did anything different to it.
right. So now they saying loop makers are not producers. They're loop makers. So if you could take what they looped, the loop that they made, how you the producer when you couldn't make the loop?
That's why I really don't like that whole producer title. I feel like it's just so broad and so vague, and it's like, nah, a lot of people be trying to use that producer title and don't even really be producers. It's like,
So what do you think is a producer?
I feel like someone who can actually fully use their skill set and resources to produce some sort of music, whether it be Whether it be you're a mixing engineer or mastering engineer, a beat maker, an arranger. It's like it's different. It's different forms of producers, I will say, but I feel like there's no just one set title as a producer. I feel like it's just a broad term, but there are different types of producers based on what do you do.
I think in the hip hop game, people are saying producer, I'm the producer because it's a status thing. It's a title. So that's why people don't want to say co-produce, you know, because it makes them look like they needed somebody. But the flip side of that is you did need somebody because you used somebody's loop. So if you didn't need nobody, you wouldn't need nobody's loop. You know
That's
what I'm
it too.
saying? You wouldn't need to use somebody's loop. You would make your own music and then say you the producer. Of course, like you can hire musicians, tell them what to play. They getting their session fees or whatever. But when you actually hear a loop and take that loop, put some drums on it, and then go give it to a known artist, and then you say you the producer, and then you don't give the other person no credit. You just say, "Oh, you just a loop maker." Well, you just a loop taker. You know what I'm saying? What's the difference? You a loop taker. I'm the loop maker. You the loop taker. So how does
Essentially.
that give you more credit than it give me? Than I because I actually made the loop.
Because if you really being honest, coming up with a melody loop, in my opinion, takes more work than just coming up with a drum pattern.
Yeah, because they using the same drum pattern. They using the same drum pattern over and over and over and over.
Same
Same
drum
kick,
pattern and
same
same drum
same clap,
sounds.
same 808, but everything is based around this particular loop.
Yeah,
It's based around that loop. So you start looking at it, it's like, well, you hear more of this loop than you do your drums. This loop going start to finish. It's the foundation of this particular record. So
it's
how
how you
oh, I'm
base your
just a beat
drums.
maker. Back when I'm programming drums for, known artists and creating sounds, I'm sound designing and it's like, oh, you're just a drum programmer. Technically, I just made this beat, but you just giving this title so it can be diminished. So you end up as the producer. You say, "Oh, I told him what to play." Well, why you didn't play it? If you
That's what I'm
told me what,
saying. That
if you told
producer
me what to
title,
play, why you didn't play it? You
that
didn't
pro-
need me if you told me what to play.
that's what I'm saying. That producer title is just, I don't like it. It's too broad. It's too vague. It's too many different things in people who could fit under that title. It's like just nah. And
I
that's
think
what I'm
it's
saying about
valid.
and that's what I'm saying about the AI thing, because now it's like it's giving people power to create even easier, but not even necessarily create easier, but create without working for real.
hmm It's
So it's
like
like
you can create something and not really know, what you're doing. I think with AI, it's coming down to who has the the best skills at command prompts. That's what it comes down to. Who know how to put the command prompt in there the best way to get a certain outcome. So
Who knows how to be the most descriptive when giving orders?
exactly. Because if you could really spell out exactly what you want, that you're gonna have the better track.
Yeah.
Because if you could say, "Oh, I want a guitar from the '70s, and I want it to sound like a Fender Stratocaster into um, a Marshall amp with a wah wah pedal." You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh shoot, you getting detailed. So you might come up with something because now you can give all these directions on what you want this to sound like, you know,
And it
and
can actually get as close to that sound as it can.
right. Or you saying, I like my bass is like I want a Motown style bass played like James Jamerson in this particular record. The average person don't know who James Jamerson is or whatever. So it's like if that command prompt knows and it starts, oh shoot, this oh, he was in the like the Funk Brothers, the Motown house band. You might get close to getting that sound because you got more details
Yeah.
about what it is that you want. So that's the difference in like, you know, somebody that's putting in prompts. You got to really know what you want. And if the system is intelligent enough to know or have that data of all these things that you're prompting it to do,
Yeah.
that's
I guess
the key to AI.
yeah. I guess I just don't like I guess the the robot in me still just seeing it just taking over to just getting too out of hand.
Yeah, because I think a lot of artists is getting bent out of shape because like what if it's at the point where now the record labels are generating their own AI and they stop signing artists and they're making their records and putting their records out. Now they ain't got to give you no record deal. They ain't got to give
And
you no
see that's part
exclusive.
of why I was asking that question when I asked who, like, in situations where it's fully AI generated, who do you feel like should get the royalties? Because I'm looking at it like, okay, if just regular everyday people are able to create AI generated artists, what's
Hmm.
stopping the actual labels from doing that? And then just, okay, I could just essentially, instead of actually paying someone to just full on be a full artist, I can just pay a few exceptionally good songwriters here and there and just boom, create AI artists from them.
Yeah, they could they could literally take their own masters that they own and put them back into the system and say generate something like this
Literally.
and then put
So
the record out and you not knowing if it's a computer generated artist or not because the record could be really just that clean, it could be flawless. So I think Like I think it's just like the gift and the curse, you know.
Definitely.
But I'm pretty sure that the majors are ahead of the curve in knowing where they're going with this whole, AI thing because it's gonna it's gonna make I think they're trying to level the playing field with the demand of what artists is coming to the labels demanding. Now they'd say, well, we don't need you. We'll do a record like this. And it could be on somebody who's not gonna get them no trouble. They ain't finna talk back. They not about to sit back and give them issues with I don't like this record, I don't like that record, I don't want this, my image, this is not my sound. They can prompt the sound and put it out. They could put out a record every day if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So how many artists in the studio every day working and generating records? Now you can generate an AI record in 5 minutes or less. So who's gonna outwork the system? It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's gonna be the quality songs, but the quantity is there. And when you pump out enough of something, then somebody
Essentially,
start biting on it.
essentially, something's gonna take off.
Yeah. Cause if you keep at the free throw line, keep shooting free throws, one of them going in. Something's gonna eventually go in. So I think you have to just look at it like, okay, let me figure out what works. You know what I'm saying? What works for me? How can I use this system and keep it moving and keep up with the times? Get into like, what's happening because you'll get left behind. If you don't start understanding the technology and everything that's out here, you're gonna get left behind. You're not gonna be able to keep up. It's gonna take you like 10 times the amount of time to do one record than most people doing a whole entire album. So I
Yeah.
think you just got to keep up with the times. And if you could do that and use all of these tools that's creating, that's being created and add those things in with your talent. If you can add it in with your talent, then that's when I think it's beneficial because you gotta have some talent. That's what I feel. You gotta have something. I think a lot of people just generating stuff, just shooting in the dark, trying to get that hit. But you gotta have something to give the system so it can give you something great back. That's my take on this whole AI, type of situation.
I definitely agree with you. It's a blessing and a curse. I don't know which side I'm leaning towards more, but yeah, it's definitely a blessing and a curse.
I'm 50-50 on it. Some things I can see, some things I can't. You know, I don't. I think it's still nothing like a live musician. You being in there, you capturing the vibe, or just making records in the studio with an artist, vibing, feeling the energy, coming up with something natural. I think it's nothing like it, and I don't think
Facts.
nothing can capture that because I don't think you can get energy from the command prompt. But
Nah,
when you in the room with people and you bouncing ideas, you vibing, I think that's what it.
it's a whole different feel.
Yeah, you get that whole different feeling, and you exchanging that energy, and that's what that particular creativity is about, and that's how certain records become hits. Other than
Yeah.
that, nah, I ain't seeing that. I ain't seeing it. Not like that. But it is a tool. It is a tool. But we're gonna see where it go. Maybe come back and touch
Yeah.
on it on another podcast and see what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. It's another day with the Hitlanders podcast. Your boy Streetz Money.
All right, it's Tizone. We signing off. Hit us up. Make sure y'all subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All right. Peace out.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us on the Hitlanders podcast. For more episodes, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.